Good morning, fourth graders, and welcome to Reader's Workshop. Today, you are in session 3 of our Unit 1 for Reader's Workshop. And today, we are going to be focusing on collaborating to create a culture of reading. So there's more than meets the eye when you are selecting a book. You definitely need a book on your reading level to be able to read intensely. But I want us to really think about books that are not just on our level. I want us to learn how to pick a book that we will enjoy reading as well. So yesterday we talked about finding a just right book, meaning that it wasn't too hard. You weren't having to stop every other word and trying to decipher what the word was. But there's also a very, very important part of reading, which is finding books that you enjoy. So our focus today is to pick out a book that's not only at our level, not only a just right book, but a book that we want to read and that we enjoy reading. So our objective for today is to learn how to select a book that is both on our level and something that we want to read. So here's the leading questions. How do we make this happen in our fourth grade classroom? How do we find books that are just right and books that we enjoy reading? So I have 3 questions to guide our learning for today. The first question is, how can we track the books that we're reading? So how do we keep track of them? How can we recommend good books to each other? And where can we find online reading resources? The first question I asked was, how can we track what we read? And we can do this with reading logs. And what you guys are actually going to be doing is you're going to be taking a screenshot of this reading log that I have linked, and you are going to open it in Notability and actually write on there what books you're reading and put the date. And when you have a full reading log, you're going to submit it to me on Schoology. Now, I think that reading logs are a great way to keep track of what you've read. And you can even put stars next to books where you are like, I really liked this, and this is one I think I would recommend to somebody. But keeping track of our reading is just a very important part of becoming a really good reader. And so when you're done with this mini lesson, I want you to open up the attachment and I want you to take a screenshot and fill this out today. Whatever you read today, I want you to put the title or chapter in here and put the date, and I want to just see that you're tracking the books that you're reading. And when we track books that we are reading, we can make book recommendations. So if you have a book that you love, you can go underneath our homeroom page, and right underneath where it says week of September 28th through October 2nd or October 1st, you are going to see a new folder that you've never seen there before that says book recommendations. And if you open that up, I have a discussion that I'll keep going through the whole year that says books we love. And if you click on that, you'll find a recommendation that I already put in there. And I would like you sometime this week to recommend a book. And it would be great if every week you find one book that you would want to recommend to a classmate. Finally, my third question was, where can we find books? So how do we make sure that we have a lot of resources for finding books, especially during distance learning? This can be such a challenge. Well, we have 5 great resources that are free and available to you. We have Reading A to Z, we have PebbleGo, we have Storyline Online, we have Epic, and we have Tumble Books, and they all are free. So what I want you to do with this page is I want you to take a screenshot of this so that you always have this login information for these reading resources. For Reading A to Z, you're going to access this through Clever. So that goes through our Clever app. For Epic, this is our class code, and all you do is type that in for class code, and then you just find your name and you start reading. For PebbleGo, The username is SPPS and the password is LIB2021. For Storyline Online, there's no password that you need. It's just completely free. And for Tumble Books Library, your username is the same as PebbleGo, SPPS, and your password is LIB2021. So take a screenshot of this, and then I want you to go and explore some of these apps. So in closing for today's lesson, I want to remind you that you are going to be recording your reading in a reading log. I also want to encourage you to give each other book recommendations. So if you have a book that you really liked or you loved reading, recommend it to a friend and do that within the folder that says book recommendations on our home page. So your job today, when this mini lesson ends, is to download that reading log, take a screenshot of it. You can open it in Notability, and then you'd have the ability to type, or you can just write on it within your Photos app. I also want you to go onto the book recommendations and add a book recommendation that you have really loved reading. And it can be from any of those sites that I just linked you to in the slide before this one. So today is all about getting you excited about reading, finding a book that you love, that's at your level, that you would recommend to your friend, and keeping track of your reading, and just focusing on finding books that we think are fun to read. So go have fun exploring those apps, find a book you love, recommend it, and write it down in your log. Off you go.